Well, hello everyone. I'm back. Real deal around town. We're here to talk about some of the ongoing stuff in town government in the town of Townsend, Massachusetts. Welcome aboard. We're here for a ride. The ride is finally hitting the stops for the Attorney General's office. Yes, indeed. If you've been following, if you, Jesus, thing is moving. If you've been following my channel, you'll remember that I've been unfortunately filing open meeting law complaints against the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust. Um, some of the videos that I've shown you of the actual events that are violating the open meeting law are to some degree funny and other degrees pretty disgusting. Like, I'm mortified as I watch the train wreck happen on the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust meetings. I'm appalled and shocked that they just keep doing it, and they're still doing it, even as we speak. Within days of right now, they just just keep they won't stop. They just won't stop. And the whole town hall is infected now with, let's see how many ways we can violate the open meeting law. I think that Veronica Kell, who's the chair of the Affordable Housing Trust, actually has a spreadsheet. I think she does. And she's got the open meeting law and she's going through it sentence by sentence, and she's trying to find every possible way she can violate the open meeting law and think that she's going to get away with it, so she can turn around and say, "Oh, it's that Cindy. She's the problem. If she wouldn't complain about these violations, everything would be fine in this town." That's my point. It won't be fine because you're violating the law every time you open your mouth. And the open meeting law, to me, and I think to the world, is that it's the first line of defense that citizens have to ensure some level of transparency in our town government. I don't care what town you live in. You know, I feel absolutely obligated to put this out on YouTube because, and hope that people that live in other towns in Massachusetts and throughout the country, I think every state has some version of the open meeting law. And this is important, that the open meeting law provides the guidelines and the requirements for towns and public officials to provide transparency, to have open government so there's no secrets. And every time the Attorney General makes a determination, it is in the determination the purpose of the open meeting law. And I am shocked that my town officials are adding more crap to the pile. They just keep finding new and innovative ways to make it worse. And it's like, why don't you just follow the law? Then you don't have to respond to my complaints. Or, I mean, I know now they've decided to stop responding to my complaints, and which is another complaint. And I think the Attorney General really doesn't like that. But we'll get to that. I'm going to get to that later on in this video. My leg's asleep. I'm sorry. Oh, but anyway, let me get down to, oh, I turned it off. I got to pull up. I got to pull up the yeah. I got to pull up the file. We got the determination. Where'd I put it? There it is. Share. Is that it? Do you have it? Let me see if you have it. I'm on the wrong page. There it is. Okay. This is the determination. I should give you the background. September 12th. That was I think I did. The September 12th is the meeting that all hell broke loose. The Affordable Trust just lost control. They spent the beginning of the meeting attacking me and accusing me of violating the open meeting law, which is not possible. Then they went through the meeting. We got through most of it. They did their thing. They had their topic and carried on. And then after they adjourned, they kept the meeting going after they adjourned and after the town turned off the video. I was still there recording. So no one would know. Thank God. I'm really grateful that I had my camera going because you'd never know. Nobody would ever believe me that this happened, which is a reason I carry my camera around. So I they just kept the meeting going. I filed my open meeting law complaint. When the trust did they have to do a meeting in order to discuss the complaint. When you get a complaint, you have to have a meeting to discuss the complaint. They had the meeting. They sent the response, but they never addressed the reasons they never addressed the meeting that they had. I call it the meeting after the meeting because they adjourned and they kept talking. So, and that was what the determination of the AG was too. But they never addressed that, never mentioned it in their response. Either the written response to me, or the meeting. Never said a word about their continuing the meeting after adjournment. They never mentioned it. So, like, well, this is going bad. So anyway, so I forwarded my complaint to the Attorney General for their determination because the Housing Trust wasn't going to acknowledge or have anything to say about the complaint that I made. They even had the wrong date. Like, they forgot they had a meeting on this day. I don't know what they were thinking. Anyway, so I'm going to change the picture here. I just stepped out of the picture. Let me fix this so we can scroll around a little bit. I think I'll make it a little, oops, that might be too big. Let's see. Hopefully that still works. I'm going to take another peek. Make sure. Hey, that does look good. Okay. All right. So here we are, Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Office of the Attorney General. This is their response. They sent this out on January 27th. I received it by email the same day. Open meeting law number 2025-2. That means this is the second determination that they made in the calendar year 2025. Doesn't matter when everything was filed. They file things based on the date that they made their determination, just so you'll know. So, anyway, so they sent they probably mailed it by email. It says right on there. They sent it to Erin, she's no longer the person, but she still works there, so she got it. I'm sure she forwarded it over to Veronica. But open meeting law complaint. This office received a complaint from Cindy King on October 22nd, alleging that the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust violated the open meeting law, chapter and verse. The complaint was originally filed at the trust on the 18th. Trust responded on the 7th, and the complaint alleges that a quorum of the trust deliberated after the conclusion of the meeting held on September 12th, 2024. Yes, indeed, that is exactly correct. And right away, jumped right out there. Following our review, we find that the trust violated the open meeting law in the way alleged. No brainer there. In reaching this determination, we reviewed the original complaint, the trust response to the complaint, and the complaint filed with our office requesting further review. In addition, we reviewed the notice, which the meeting notice, the posting of the meeting, and the video recording of the trust meeting held on September 12th, 2024. Now, you'll see a little one up there. That means they got a little comment, a little footnote here. It says a video recording of the trust meeting held on September 12th, 2024 is available at 2 different places. Now, what that means, the 2 different places, is the Town of Townsend YouTube channel and my YouTube channel, because you don't get to see the violation unless you look at my YouTube channel, because the town didn't record it. Erin didn't left. She was on Zoom. She didn't know what was happening. If she had stayed on, if she knew it was happening, she would have stopped him. I'm confident of that. But no, everybody left except Veronica Kell, Beverly Napier, and Cindy Bondi. They They know everything. Oh, Veronica Kell knows everything, apparently. Sorry. Sorry, Veronica. I know it's you that knows everything about nothing. Anyway, I don't think she's literate. They can't be literate because they can't read the open meeting law. Or they say they read it and they quote from it. And I don't know where they get these quotes. But anyway, so the AG saw both videos and there they are. The links. Facts. We find the facts as follows. The trust is a 5-member public body. Thus, 3 members constitute a quorum. See, they define everything. The trust posted a notice of the meeting, right? One of the head, it's a lot of that is just that's just what was on the posting. No problem there. The meeting was held as planned, and 4 of the 5 trust members attended the meeting. The trust discussed blah blah blah. They did. And they talked about whatever it was, and that's fine. No problem there. The problem comes in. After the trust voted to adjourn the meeting, 3 members of the trust remained in the meeting location and continued to discuss the town's designated metropolitan statistical area and ways to change or update the designation. Which, if I'm going to comment on that information, it's pretty stupid, but that's just that. They're no longer doing that, thankfully. They finally realized the error of their ways, that this is an impossible task. It is below, if you're not running the United States Census Bureau, you're not going to be very successful at making any changes to the metropolitan statistical area. So that's a different topic. But anyway, this is the basis of the complaint and the basis of the determination. So I'm going to talk about what they're defining here. The open meeting law was enacted to eliminate much of the secrecy surrounding deliberation and decisions on which public policy is based. And in my opinion, the open meeting law is the first line of defense. This is the thing that makes it possible for the public to know what the hell's going on in town hall. Any town hall, not just mine, any town hall. This is what makes it possible. And the open meeting law requires that meetings of a public body be properly noticed and open to members of the public unless an executive session is convened. And then that's a whole nother story, but we're not there. A meeting, I'm going to pay attention to this. A meeting is defined in relevant part as a deliberation by a public body with respect to any matter within the body's jurisdiction. The law defines deliberation, this is highlighted, as an oral or written communication through any medium, including electronic mail, between or among a quorum of the public body, or any public business within its jurisdiction. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. The complaint I made alleges that the quorum deliberated outside of an open meeting when it continued to discuss the town's designated MSA after adjourning the September 12th meeting. After watching a video of the recording, we agree. Here, after conclusion of September 12th meeting, 3 members of the trust, a quorum, remained in the meeting room and briefly discussed the town's designated MSA. Any communication among a quorum of a public body on matters that are pending or will come before it and within the public body's jurisdiction is considered deliberation. I will have another point about all this highlighting. I'm going to get back to that in a minute, but I'm going to close out this specific complaint. Moreover, the expression of an opinion of one public body member on matters within the jurisdiction to a quorum of a public body is deliberation, even if no other public body member responds. So they met all that. So it doesn't matter. They were all there, and Veronica kept talking. In fact, they all did. I think they all engaged in this conversation, if I remember correctly. So they said that they did remember. In my original complaint, I mentioned, I kind of threw it in there. I really didn't think much about it, but I put it in there anyway, that the MSA conversation was not technically on the agenda. And the AG's office said, that's okay. Because it really did, it was related to probably every other topic that was on the agenda. That the MSA does have an impact on a number of programs. They were talking about a number of programs. I mean, I think they probably, I mean, it would have been nice that it had been on there, but I mean, I wasn't sure. I wasn't hell bent on that one. The only true complaint, legal complaint that I really had was the obvious violation when they adjourned the meeting and then continued the meeting. That is like brain dead activity there. Are you serious, people? That's what they did. And the attorney general took no time at all to agree. And then, of course, because the AG is pretty thorough, I almost feel bad when I've only, this is only the second determination that I've received, um, at least in the last couple of years, that, and they really take a thorough job of everything that you address in your complaint. And I feel bad when it's like, oh, I said something in the complaint, and they are dissecting it and explaining their perspective of what I put in the complaint. So, I try to not say too much and because I really, I don't need them to reinvent the wheel or spend hours and hours on nothing. But unfortunately, this is, I'm babbling. I'm sorry. but, but anyway, I just want to, what I'm really trying to say is that the MSA conversation, I really didn't care that much about, but the Affordable Housing Trust spent their response time focusing on the MSA, and they didn't even say a peep in their response to the complaint about the meeting that continued on after adjournment, which is the true violation. Beats me. So anyway, um, so they said that that's fine. So, for the reasons stated above, we find that the trust violated the open meeting law by deliberating outside of a properly posted meeting, and that's the basics of the whole thing. And they want, further immediate and future compliance. And we caution that similar future violations could be considered evidence of intent to violate the law. This is very important. Similar future violations could be considered evidence of intent to violate the law. Once you hit intent, it's not on here, but once you hit intent, if the AG determines that you've intentionally violated the open meeting law, they start dishing out fines. I really wish the fines would go to the individuals, but they don't. They go to the town. So it's sad to say, at some point, if they don't get their act together, there's going to be fines at some point because they're not stopping. I'm going to tell you in a moment that they're not stopping and how it's getting worse. This was bad enough. This meeting was just horrible. And I'm going to put myself back up here, just so I can see you. Where am I? Oh, I'm going to go all in here. Okay. So the after this meeting on September 12th, they had another meeting, I think it was October 7th, which was the meeting that they held on Zoom, which I went to at the town hall because it was supposed to be in person. And when I got to town hall, everybody was on Zoom in the meeting, but it was on this TV screen in the selectmen's chambers. I'm like, well, this is a first. So, okay, this is weird. They had the agenda posted to discuss an open meeting law violation that someone, unknown person, complained about for September 4th. I'm like, well, that's even more interesting. I wonder who that was. So, yeah, really. And so then they discussed the MSA in this meeting. They violated the open meeting law, in my opinion, because everybody was remote. And they talked about in a remote meeting, you're required to do roll call, everything. You do a roll call attendance. You announce that the meeting is remote. You announce first, your agenda is supposed to say what the deal is with the meeting, whether it's remote or in person or whatever. That was kind of wishy-washy. They were supposed to do roll call attendance, like give their name, I'm here, this one's here, that one's there. They didn't do it. Then whenever they have motions and voting, they're supposed to do all the votes by roll call. They didn't do that. They just carried on as though they were in the selectmen's chambers, which they weren't. No one was there but me and Aaron Steffield, who was their admin person, not a member of the board. And so I'm like, okay. So they didn't address the September 12th open meeting law complaint at all in this meeting, which was mind-boggling. And they just a short and sweet meeting. I did post that on my channel. It is out there. I may put some of these meetings in the description with links just so you can easily follow. You don't have to go searching through my channel to find these things. I'll try to remember to do that when I'm finished recording this. But they just went on, and I just like, really? I mean, I understand they were probably a little nervous because Veronica wasn't there. It was actually David Werlin ran that meeting. And I don't think Veronica would have done it any better. None of them would have. But just, okay, so there's like, repeat. They did. I don't know how the AGs. I did file an open meeting law complaint on this meeting because they didn't follow the remote procedures. They didn't follow, the roll call stuff. They didn't follow that. They improperly posted the meeting because they posted it to discuss an open meeting law complaint about September 4th, which they had a meeting on September 4th. I don't remember if I attended that one or not. I have to look back. But I don't think there was anything to complain about for September 4th. They probably weren't any more well-behaved than any other time, but there was no complaint filed by me anyway. And September 12th was not mentioned. Nothing that they did in September 12th that I'm really clear about was discussed. So I'm like, okay, so I wrote that. Yeah, I wrote the improper posting. I wrote the failure to roll call. And I threw in there about, okay, I'm remote. I mean, they're remote for an in-person meeting. It was held in the chambers. So none of this was even mentioned. They should really fix the posting or mention this at the beginning of the meeting. Hey, we're doing this. I know we posted it this way, but we're here on Zoom, but the town hall is available, blah, blah, blah. They could have said, they didn't say anything. So I threw that in my complaint. You only have like 3,000 words. So you can't give a whole encyclopedia when you fill out this open meeting law complaint form. But I threw in there my concerns about the posting, the roll calling, and the fact that, it was improperly posted because of the content. The agenda was wrong completely. I don't. They still, to this day, the agenda is still posted as it was, which is completely wrong. So I have no idea. I don't know, but I filed a complaint on that one. Then the next complaint I did was, because I did that complaint. So no, wait a minute. We're not talking about. We're going to move on. So that was my second complaint. The complaint about the meeting that was held to discuss the first complaint, which was mind-boggling to me. It's like, okay, they're violating the open meeting law again to discuss an open meeting law violation. This is too much. I thought it was like, this is over the top. So then they had to schedule another meeting to discuss the violation of the open meeting law complaint from October 7th. So they mixed it in. They did properly. They requested an extension. I won't even get into that, how that happened. But they couldn't meet the timeline to have the discussion meeting. So they got an extension. So then they were, I think, all on Zoom for that one too. And I was starting to think they were never going to meet in person again. because they don't want to look at me. Like, fine, I don't care. So they were on Zoom. I watched it from home, and they actually had a regular meeting. They talked about all kinds of stuff and about affordable housing and all these pretty houses that they want to build in Townsend. It's like they're never going to build these anyway. But we'll talk about that. Remember, I said that all this building is not, I don't know that I'll see it in another 10 years, but let them dream on, because I've been following this housing saga for 20 years. Nothing's moved. Nothing. Nothing's changed. All kinds of talk. Thank God town meeting is smarter than this. But anyway, so they get down to the part on the agenda, which they did properly post. I have no complaints. They put that they were going to discuss the open meeting law violation from the second meeting. Okay. They get to that. Unbelievable. They're being recorded. The attorney general is going to see the video and also see their response and also see what I have to say afterwards. After the response, I send everything off to the AG if I disagree, blah, 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 which was pretty clear that there's nobody in the right mind would have agreed with this meeting. Veronica said her comments were, it was absurd that anybody, not just me, but I would file an open meeting law complaint about a meeting held to discuss another open meeting law complaint. It is, I agree with you completely, Veronica. It's absurd. But the absurdity is not the complaint that I filed a complaint. The absurdity is that your little bunch of groupies would violate the open meeting law during a meeting held to discuss another open meeting law complaint. That's the absurdity. Do you get it? No, she doesn't. Clearly, because she's still on a train. The train has that train schedule she was so worried about. It's moved on. So, and then David Werlin, who was the chair of the meeting that was all on Zoom. He was chairing that meeting. I'll give him a couple brownie points, really brownie points. I bet he was a little nervous, but he had no plan. I think he was reading from a script, and the script was insufficient. It didn't have everything on it. He didn't know. I think because it was supposed to be in person and would have been okay. And they forgot that it's different on a remote meeting. But anyway, I'm digressing. So Dave Werlin's comments were, if I have to follow the open meeting law to the letter, I am just not going to do this anymore. I'm going to resign. If I am required to follow the law, it's not fair, and I'm just not going to play this game anymore. Okay. So I got one public official thinks it's absurd to file complaints when people break the law. And the other one thinks they shouldn't be required to follow the law. And if they have to follow the law, they quit. They're done. And well, he isn't done. The selectmen's meeting on the 28th. Yes. Veronica Kell mentioned that they needed to reappoint. Dave Werlin was trying to get reappointed because his appointment was ending on the trust, so they needed to reappoint him so that he can continue on the housing trust. Well, I guess he doesn't care anymore. He's going to stay on. I don't know. Maybe somebody convinced him that nobody's going to listen to Cindy King's complaints. It's all her. She's the problem, not us. We can continue to break the law. We just need to get rid of Cindy King. I don't know. And I think they think that way. So every once in a while, I just want to tell people I'm not delusional. I'm not paranoid. I'm not You might not like me. You might think I have weird ideas sometimes, but some of this is frightening. Some of this is very frightening. And I've been dealing with these people, some of these same people, for quite some time. And I get concerned for my safety. I do. So, and I do tell people, some people think I'm nuts when I say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. If anything happens to me, like if you hear that I died uh, for no reason, I mean, you just hear I died. If something happens to me, if I'm arrested, if I'm in an accident of some kind, if my house burns to the ground, if I disappear, if you don't see me for a while, call the FBI. Don't call the local police. Don't call the state police. Don't call the state police for anything. Oh my God. Um, FBI. Okay. Because sometimes I worry that because I'm not going to stop reporting crimes committed by public officials. I'm just not going to. I'm not going away. The only way to stop me would be to kill me. So, and I just, I'm not stopping. You got it? Hello, Veronica. I'm not stopping. You keep breaking the law. I'm still coming. I'm still going to report it. And you just keep going. Every time I see you in a meeting, is this another violation? So I'm going to get back to the topic at hand. I'm not dead. Nobody's killed me yet. I do once in a while. I get that little hair on the back of my neck stands up. The way these people talk about me sometimes, and they just want to ignore. And I'm going to get to that. They want to ignore everything. So we're going to fast forward a little bit. This all was October. November, I think it was November that they had the meeting to discuss the open meeting law complaint from October. The meeting in November, I did not file. I believe it or not, I had a meeting that I did not file an open meeting law complaint about, and that was the meeting of the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust in November. Oh, well, what they said was pretty asinine and ignorant and arrogant and stupid, but I don't think they broke any laws in that meeting. Unless I missed something. I could go back, but it's too late. You only have 30 days. So no, I'm not no, we're good. So, okay. So then the open meeting law complaint went forward. The only determination I've received so far was the one that I just got the other day, and that was on the meeting from September 12th. So the October meeting didn't move till November. So I figure at the end of February at the earliest, unless they're speeding things up at the AG's office, I anticipate the earliest that I'm going to get the determination on the October meeting will be the end of February at the earliest. Yeah. I could be wrong. I'll get back to you. But they take a few months because, believe it or not, I'm not the only one making open meeting law complaints in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. There are other people. There's a lot. And it's a little bit, actually, about half and half. Half of the determinations, I think, are based on the chart. I didn't add them all up, but it looks like about half are not determined to be violations. I'm running 100% since for the last year and a half. I don't screw around with nonsense. If somebody goes off topic in a meeting, I'm not going to file a complaint. If you have your whole meeting based on the fact that you didn't want to put it on the agenda, then we have an issue. And I did that in September of 2023 on the Board of Selectmen when they were trying to get rid of the Board of Health. Remember that? So anyway, so then we move along to January 9th, the planning board held a meeting. It was a public hearing for the articles that were supposed to be on the special town meeting on January 28th, I'm sorry. Get my days mixed up. So in between all this, we had an election in Townsend for the Board of Selectmen vacancies because the other two quit. Can't make this up. So Veronica made her way onto the Board of Selectmen. So she's on the Board of Selectmen and the Housing Trust. And Laura Schifrin, who is still currently chairing the planning board, was also elected to the other open seat on the selectmen. So here we have an open meeting law violation waiting to happen. Very, you're walking a tightrope when you're on multiple boards, particularly if one of them is the Board of Selectmen, because as I was reading in some of the definitions on the violation that I gave you, is anything within, if you discuss anything within your jurisdiction in another meeting, you, and almost every, as a select person, everything that's happening in Townsend is within your jurisdiction, just about. It's pretty hard to walk that tightrope. But Veronica Kell doesn't care. She'll just blow through it. I don't care. I'm going to say what I want, when I want, where I want, to whom I want. Whatever. So I'm going to bring this back up. So what happened? I'm going to bring up the other determination in a moment. The original. I don't have another one. I just have the original. I'm going to pull that up in a second to go back over definitions. At the planning board meeting, Veronica Kell went, and she brought two of her friends from the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust. So she brought a quorum of the Affordable Trust to the planning board meeting, to the public hearing about the zoning articles that were going to be discussed at the special town meeting, or voted on at special town meeting, which is within the jurisdiction of the Affordable Housing Trust. Putting the articles up is the purview of the planning board, but they were about accessory apartments, the over 55, aging. I can't think of the word now. Over 55 apartments, things of that nature were part of these articles. Like, okay. When I saw them in the room, I think I zoomed in. I watched it on Zoom, I think. I either watched it on Zoom, or I think I did watch it on Zoom. And and then, of course, Veronica's on the Board of Selectmen. Laura Schifrin's on the Board of Selectmen. Laura Schifrin chaired the planning board meeting. So that's fine. Everybody can be there. The mere presence of everyone at this meeting is okay. That in and of itself is not a violation of any rule. It's if you open your mouth, is when you put both feet in and stick it right up your butt. And you did that, Veronica Kell. Veronica Kell, in my opinion, successfully violated the open meeting law for two separate boards while attending the meeting of a third. She violated the open meeting law as the Board of Selectmen and as the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust, because a quorum of both the Affordable Housing Trust and the Board of Selectmen were in the room at this meeting. Veronica Kell spoke out about issues within the jurisdiction of both the Board of Selectmen and the Affordable Housing Trust. And let me tell you, she made sure everybody knew it. She identified her comments as a member of the Board of Selectmen on her first comments. And then later on, her and Dave Werland spoke regarding issues within the jurisdiction of the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust in relationship to these articles. And I was flabbergasted. Like, are you people really this stupid? Or who are you throwing this in the face of? The townspeople? Me? The Attorney General? What are you doing? I will say, I think at first I initially felt bad for Laura Schifrin, and I take that back. I don't feel bad anymore. But she's the chair. What is she going to do? Run out of the room? And the law would require that. Yes. Yes, Laura, you should have run out of the room. But she didn't. Of course, she was on Zoom. And she stayed. She didn't even turn off her video. She stayed in the meeting. She didn't say anything. And I think and she had somebody else run the public hearing portion of their meeting. Carol Hofstas did that. And I think, I mean, if I'm making an assumption here that I think Laura Schifrin knew there was a problem. So she just, and somebody probably told her, maybe she talked to Veronica. I don't know. But she just didn't say anything. She just attended and she sat there and did nothing and said nothing. And well, Veronica ran her mouth through the whole meeting. But her presence there was real. And there was a quorum. In fact, the entire Board of Selectmen is 2 people right now, Laura Schifrin and Veronica Kell. Were present. So we have a quorum of 2 boards in which representatives of the 2 boards spoke in their capacity and on topics that were under the jurisdiction of both boards. Game over. I filed 2 open meeting law complaints about this one meeting. The planning board did nothing wrong. So it's not the planning board. The Board of Selectmen and the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust both received open meeting law complaints. I submitted them on the 13th of January. Let me pull up. I'm going to do this again. Here we are. This is, I got to get back to the actual thing so I can move this thing around. I'm going to go back to, is that where I want? Okay. We're getting into deliberation. Oh yes, what I want to talk about is on the 17th of January, the Affordable Housing Trust held a meeting to discuss the open meeting law complaint that I filed against them regarding the meeting on January 9th. And Veronica said, I talked to town council. Oh, good for you. And he said that it's okay for anybody can go to any meeting they want. So you can attend any meeting. I don't care how many boards you're on. You can attend all the meetings you want. Meetings. You can go to a meeting. The problem is you can't say anything. Don't say anything. Open your mouth, you're done. Or if you open your mouth, it can't be under anything that's under your jurisdiction. So, and she asked town council, I think she stopped short of explaining to town council what she did at the meeting. Because she reported in the 17th, the meeting on January 17th with the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust, she said, I talked to town council and he said that anybody, anyone can go to a meeting as long as you don't deliberate. I was choking on, like, are you serious? And this was in the meeting. I did go to that meeting. It was in person. And that's the one where Veronica Kell played musical chairs and held the folder up to her face the whole time. I just mind-boggling childish behavior. But it was during that meeting that she said the town council told her that it's okay to go to any meeting as long as you don't deliberate. And we didn't deliberate. There was no deliberation. I have to disagree. And this is what the Attorney General says about deliberations. And they say this in almost every complaint that is out there. The law defines deliberation as an oral or written communication through any media, including electronic mail, between or among a quorum of public body on any public business within its jurisdiction. But she would probably still have a problem with that. Well, that's still not right because we didn't deliberate. We didn't communicate amongst us. It was just me. No. The complaint, this is different. Any communication among a quorum of public body on matters that are pending or will come before it within the public body's jurisdiction is considered deliberation. Moreover, the expression of an opinion of one public body member on matters within the body's jurisdiction to a quorum of a public body. In other words, I'm going to stop right there. One person speaking on a topic that falls within the jurisdiction of that board to a quorum of a public body, which in both cases, Veronica Kell gave her opinion. And being one person, she gave her opinion on matters within both bodies' jurisdictions. In other words, she gave her opinion about as a selectman and as a member of the trust. Jurisdiction, things that are in the jurisdiction of both bodies, to a quorum. There was a quorum of both the Board of Selectmen and the trust present in the meeting. She was sitting next to the two other people. They came in and together and they left together. So they were probably still talking, but I didn't file a complaint about that. That's because I don't know what they were talking about. I wasn't physically in the room. That's a deliberation. Even if this is the big one that they get stuck on, even if no other public body member responds. So Laura Schifrin sitting there keeping her mouth shut was not good enough. If she didn't walk out of the meeting, and initially I really felt bad for Laura because it's like she's chairing this meeting and Veronica Kell coming in there and opening her mouth was going to force, if the only option that Laura Schifrin would have had would have been to turn off her video and sign off of Zoom. That's it. That's the only option she would have had to stay out of trouble. But she didn't do that. So therefore, the selectmen's open meeting law complaint is going to hold. It's going to be a violation, as is the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust. It will be a violation based on the open meeting law's definition of deliberation and the Attorney General's interpretation of that law. And what's interesting, what I really like about the AG too, is they provide other references. They say, it says see OML 2016-104 and Open Meeting Law 2015-33. Those, I didn't look those up, but they're referenced. They're in, we're used to hearing things like case law when we're hearing about other cases that we see on TV and whatever. But case law comes up all the time. That's case law. These are previous determinations that the Attorney General has made, and 10 years ago, but they're still valid. That this is what a deliberation is, and when you don't play the rules by the rules, you're going to pay. Now, and this is where I'm going to scroll down. Of course, the September 12th complaint was found a violation because they deliberated outside of a properly posted meeting. At the January 9th meeting of the Planning Board, neither the Board of Selectmen nor the Townsend Affordable Housing Trust posted that they would be attending as a quorum of that meeting, to the planning. They didn't post. That's all they had to do. And a lot of times boards will post anyway, just in case. And if they never got a quorum or nothing happened that was going to violate the open meeting law, they just drop it. They don't do anything about it. So the thing here that I also want to bring up, where this January 9th will be the second complaint that involves having a meeting that wasn't posted. Exactly. The January 9th complaint in violation that they're going to determine is going to be the exact same complaint from September 12th. They had a meeting that wasn't posted. They deliberated on topics within their jurisdiction without having a properly posted meeting. So this will be the second one within 5 months. Which means, and I put it in this way, I put in my complaint, which the AG requires you to do or they request you to do, um, if you believe it's an intentional violation. And I did put that in the complaint. I filed my complaint as an intentional violation of the open meeting law, not just a normal one, because it was the second time they did the exact same thing in 5 months. And this is the AG. We order the trust immediate and future compliance, and we caution that similar future violations could be considered evidence of intent to violate the law. The only thing that might save them is this came out after the January 9th meeting. So the trust thinking that the AG must think I'm the jerk. They're not going to go along with my complaints. They're going to side with Veronica because she knows everything. So they probably did not assume that September 12th meeting was a violation. So the AG might not hold them to account on the intentional violation because they had not received this determination yet. This determination was not written till the 27th, but the second violation was actually committed on the 9th. So so there's that. Let me bring things back up. Now, that's as of January 9th with the newest violations. Now we have problem number 2. Well, there's more. I'm not going to, I have to stay quiet on a couple issues, but just because I don't want to blow things up. I want to let them do what they think they know. If I'm not going to tell them, I've told them and told them and told them how to not violate the open meeting law, and they don't care. I'm not going to do it this time. They did it again. There's another one coming. There is another violation coming. And it's going to go, the first one is going to go back to September 12th again. And that one is about minutes. That's all I'm going to say. Then there's another thing that the select board had a meeting on January 28th. Somebody's shoveling. January 28th, they had a meeting. The selectmen had a meeting. It was prior to the special town meeting. And before the meeting, they were on Zoom before the meeting started. The Zoom link opens up before the meeting actually starts. So at that meeting, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe what I was seeing and hearing. Mind-boggling. That I gotta pause this. Okay, so the selectmen's meeting was January 28th, 6:00. The Zoom meeting, the Zoom link was on. I was kind of, the last week or so, I've been really concerned that the Board of Selectmen had not acknowledged receiving the open meeting law complaint. I followed the law. I sent my complaint to Laura Schifrin, the chair of the board, and to the town clerk. That's what the requirement is. You do your complaint, you send it in to the chair of the board that you're complaining about and to the town clerk. So I did that. They didn't do anything. At least the trust had a meeting. They scheduled their meeting and they discussed how they didn't, they said I'm the problem. The selectmen didn't do anything, and they had like 3 or 4 meetings scheduled, and there's nothing on the agenda, nothing about discussing the open meeting law complaint, and that's required. They have to have a meeting and with an agenda item to discuss the open meeting law complaint, and then develop a response to provide, and nothing. No, they've run out of time. Basically, they have to provide the response by the 4th. By the 4th, that's their last day. And so I'm watching it, nothing's on the agenda. So I'm looking on Zoom, and at the table is Adam Costa, our town council, and everybody's there. And they were, I guess, talking to him about the meeting. They probably shouldn't have had some of these conversations, but I don't know, because I missed part of it. I had a volume issue. I couldn't hear. It was my technical problem, but when I fixed the volume, here's Adam Costa saying, "No, I really don't feel comfortable discussing an open meeting law violation that's not on the agenda." What? So Laura Schifrin wanted to do an addition, which chairs can put additions onto an agenda. You can put it under, there's one reason: unforeseen things come up that require the attention of the board. The open meeting law complaint was not an unforeseen circumstance. They received the complaint on the 13th. Here we are at the 27th, when their deadline for submitting a response is the 4th. This is a Tuesday. Town council said, "Oh no, not no, hell no," because she wanted to put it on the agenda, add it to the agenda, so that they could, take care of this complaint. No, we're not doing that. Or he wasn't going to participate. No, you want to do that? Don't involve me in this. So, but I mean, I'm really happy that Adam was. He'd love to, I'm sure, discuss this complaint, but he's not going to participate in violating the open meeting law to do so, because that would have been a clear violation. Like, Lord Schifrin was really trying to violate the open meeting law yet again, to violate the open meeting law while discussing a previous, in order to discuss a violation of the, come on, people. But that was the plan that she had, was to add it to the agenda. And of course, they've run out of room. They don't have time. They cannot meet the requirements of the open meeting law at this point in order to respond, because they'll have to have a meeting on Saturday or something, because this was Tuesday. They have a meeting scheduled for Thursday, but when they had this conversation, it was too late to post for Thursday, because they have a joint meeting with the finance committee. They can't add it, and they can't add it there either, because it's not unforeseen. You have to give 48 hours notice to make the open meeting law complaint not be an open meeting law complaint. So they said, "Oh, well, we'll do it Tuesday. We'll do it next week." And I'm like, "No, but go ahead." But they have to respond to the complaint Tuesday, not have the meeting Tuesday. They're going to have to submit their response before they go home from that meeting, or it's a violation again. So, I mean, it wouldn't be a full violation, but it require the assistance of the Attorney General. I don't know what they're thinking. They just don't care about the open meeting law. They just don't care. They're going to keep violating it until they run out of ways to violate it. And then they're just going to start over, and then the fines are going to start piling up. And they're going to blame me. I'm costing the town money now. No, stop breaking the law. And I won't complain about it, because I won't have anything. Imagine, you want to shut me up? Stop violating the law, and we'll have peace and harmony. No, we won't, because there's other issues you guys have, because trash is on its way out. It's going. They're going to do it. But anyway, that's, I'm really, I'm not at the end of my road. I got plenty of time. I'm a private citizen. I got time. I got a YouTube channel. It doesn't cost me a dime to do this. Oh, it costs me a little bit. There's little administrative fees I have. But there's They will not stop violating the open meeting law. They won't. I don't know if they can't read. They don't know what to ask counsel. Even town council, I'm not doing it because he knew they were going to violate the open. That just kills me. And then can somebody? I did a public records request on Veronica Kell's history as a public official. I asked for all her appointments and both appointments and elected official designations. She's had around 20 different positions over a 10-year period, approximate, give or take. Veronica Kell should be the go-to person. She should be the town-wide expert on the open meeting law, short of being an attorney herself. She's not an attorney. Don't think she's an attorney. She might try to convince you she knows more than the lawyers, because she clearly doesn't. But she should be the one with the wealth of knowledge to be able to guide others. And Laura Schifrin too. She's been on boards longer than Veronica. I didn't do a public records request on Laura Schifrin. I don't need to. Whatever. She's got a decade and 20 different appointments where she's required to be knowledgeable. She's supposed to certify that she's knowledgeable about the open meeting law. No chance. And she just is looking for ways. And then she tries to blame me. It's my fault nothing's getting done in Townsend because all we're doing is responding to open meeting law complaints. Well, actually, you're not. You're not even responding anymore. It's like, don't blame me when the fines start. Okay? Your public officials are violating the law day in and day out, and I've had enough of it. I'm not going to shut up. If they violate the law, I'm going to complain. It's the public's first line of defense to make sure that we get the transparency that's required by law, and that's the open meeting law. Come on, people. I'm not happy. But this is the update. I came on here, I've talked over an hour now about this open meeting law complaint that I filed back in September that came back as a violation of the open meeting law. And this determination should bring some clarity to the boards, any board, and not only Townsend, but anywhere. This is nuts. But they need to read the determinations. And that's how I learned most about open meeting law, is by reading determinations. Because that's where they really explain the little nuances, the little things that you make assumptions about. Read the determinations, ladies and gentlemen, and boys and girls. I have to address the children in the room. I'm not YouTube. I'm not addressing real children. I'm addressing adults acting like children. Don't zing me for something inappropriate, because it's not. Then I'll have to appeal, and that's not fun. Anyway, thank you. So thank you for watching. If you like this video, it would be nice. You could give me a thumbs up. You can share this video. I thank those who have been sharing. I see some of them get shared on some of the groups out there. I'm not all over the internet. I'm in very few Facebook groups, and I haven't even been going on Facebook that much. It's really just by chance I check something out. But I do appreciate it. It helps spread the word on some of the important topics that I'm covering. And if you want to subscribe too, you'll get notified whenever I give these important messages. I'll be doing more. I got more topics coming up. I forgot what I forgot. I got a couple of things on the fire, but I wanted to get this one out because it's important. I think that, public needs to know about the open meeting law and what's happening, what's not happening, I should say. And a shout out to people throughout the country. I know a lot of the people that are subscribed to my channel aren't here in this town. They are throughout Massachusetts and throughout the country. And the open meeting law is really important. And this isn't frivolous or Cindy, I'm just a constant complainer. This is important stuff, and it drives the train on everything else. It's the first line of defense, is what I call it, and it's really important to support it. And but anyway, thank you so much for watching, and please come back and watch more of my videos. I'll try to get a couple of links up into the description, so when you watch this, they might be there. All right, so take care. Have a good day. I can find the end recording button. Thanks.